Hello, friends. Today I'm gonna hip you cats to one of my very favorite bands. It's a band that changes. It's one of those bands that has the primary member and then other members that sort of change, interchange. So basically, the conceptual responsibilities of the creative side of the band rests with one person. You know those kind of bands. The band I'm talking about is Lilies. I believe not the Lilies, but Lilies. Um, you may not have heard of them. Unfortunately, they don't get as much attention as I believe they deserve or he deserves. This primary member's name is Kurt Heasley, and he's a good pal of mine actually. So I'm kind of biased, and I really liked the band before I met Kurt, and then became friends with him. Kind of developed an even stronger like for the band because I kind of understood his creative quirks. Is an unusual and very cool, interesting, super interesting person to talk with, and his motivations and things like that, his musical motivations don't come from the same place as they do for a lot of people. He is one of those people that gets labeled, and I'm saying this, I don't say this too often, but I think he's a bit of a genius. I'm gonna just let that sit for a second here. I think that's true. He may not agree, but I think his creative output is so diverse and so constantly surprising, and it's the kind of music where you never know what you're going to get with a new album. Their first albums were sort of, that label that I keep bringing up that I don't really love, shoegaze, and that means a type of music that sort of got a powerful drone to it, a powerful distorted landscape, a flow of sound, like an overwhelm, like the flood of sound. But I don't know, shoegaze. It comes from the people on stage gazing at their shoes while they're sort of hypnotized playing this music. But I don't know if that's I think a better term for it, if you have to label it, it would be maybe modern psychedelic music. There's a lot of the aspect of music that I sometimes really like, which is a kind of hypnotic element that some music has. It sort of puts you in a trance. You listen to it with the headphones and you kind of go into that world. I know I've said that a lot, but it takes you on a trip, and takes you on a sort of non-chemical psychedelic trip. And I think Kurt's music does that, really kind of takes you into other realms. It's because, I think, this is my theory, it's music, it's presented musically with guitar, drums, and bass, and voice and lyrics, but he does things with the music that a lot of people don't have the courage to do. He'll do like a chord change that you don't expect. There'll be like a chord progression that you don't expect. He will sort of ignore the typical song structure, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, fade out, that thing. He doesn't do that always, but he does sometimes. But a lot of times he'll just start a song and it just seems like stream of consciousness where he's carrying you through his thoughts and his visions of music and his musical landscape. It's fascinating because it's music. Obviously, it's very recognizable as songs, even pop songs. But you're not you're sort of taken off guard. You're not prepared sometimes for the changes and the left turns that a lot of his songs will take. The band started off, like I said, as one of those sort of droney kind of shoegaze bands, but I think there's a bit of a difference to Kurt's version of shoegaze. those early albums. There's the first one is called "In the Presence of Nothing." I have it on vinyl somewhere, but the second one is this one, a brief history of amazing letdowns. And this is a pretty great album. There's some songs, these are the songs. Really great stuff. It's got that kind of droning vibe to it, but there's also a pop sense to it, like with so many of his other albums. And then the next one that came along is another sort of shoegaze. Well, one thing I gotta remind my friends who watch this. I have to say that I made some music videos for Kurt, and one of them is on the first album, and it is a strange music video. You might not want to watch the whole entire thing, but it's a song that's 12 minutes long. So I made a music video that's 12 minutes, but it's not like a standard song. It's a very sort of abstract song. So I made an abstract video for it. So look that up on YouTube. It might be interesting, kind of something to sort of take you in to another world. It's called The Way Snowflakes Fall, and it's from the first album, which is called In the Presence of Nothing. And then I mentioned this one, second one. And then the third one is, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. I think it's called Exame, the Photon Band. I could be pronouncing that wrong. It might be Exame or something. But this is a fantastic album. It was out of print for a very long time. I've also got a little one, a little tiny version of this, and then a larger one. And it is a fantastic album, and it was just so hard to find for so long. And my friend Lisa Fancher, I'm dropping all these great names today. I know cool people. But my good friend Lisa Fancher and her fantastic record label, Frontier Records, re-released this on vinyl. And it's a you might get lucky and get the red vinyl. That's pretty cool. But they did some enhancements with the dynamics, I think, and they changed the song order and stuff and made it so that they changed the song order not just to do it, but because of some technical aspect of how the grooves are cut, and by moving a song to another side of the record, they were able to cut the grooves deeper. This is what I understand. I could be completely wrong, but they were able, because of the dynamic range of that particular song, they were able to cut the grooves deeper, I guess, without cutting all the way through the vinyl or something. But some really brilliant technological person came up with that, and so that's why the song order is different. But this is a really grand album. I really like it a lot. It's like I said, it's got that kind of droning heaviness to it, and a kind of psychedelic vibe. There are elements of the sort of mind-altering aspects of music when it goes into those kind of hypnotic realms. And it's not a new thing. This idea of music being hypnotic goes way back in human culture. When you listen to certain music like gamelan music or music from other cultures where the music was used in ritual, you find these repetitive repetitions and drones and things like that, and sounds that are tuned, the tonalities of the sounds. I think Kurt works on that a lot. He works on the tonality, the structure, the resonance of the sound, and the power of the sound, the kind of magical alchemy of these sounds that are coming out of your speakers. And I think that's what I really love about the music. But then again, I think the main thing I love about it is the songs. His brilliant songwriter, and there is a really classic sounding vibe to the songs. They are pop songs in some ways, in many ways, sort of 60s style pop songs. It's the kind of music you might hear the Kinks playing, or even the Association, a band like that, a singing group that had these kind of this wash of vocals and soothing vocals, and but then you add the something like the Association to the Kinks and cross those wires, and the Kinks have that kind of edge, but then you throw in something like maybe My Bloody Valentine, and then you throw in Kurt's ability to make these incredible pop songs with these left turns, these unexpected changes and chord progressions that I was talking about. The shoegazy thing was incredible, but then he kind of went into a more of a pop realms, a little bit more influenced perhaps by the Kinks and the Zombies and bands like that, and other maybe sort of garage bands and kind of nuggets bands with this edginess to it, but still with a pop sensibility. This one is a classic. It's very tiny. Let me see if I can zoom in to make this like the size of an album. Okay, there we go. This one is called Better Can't Make Your Life Better. And this is like a shamelessly pop song studded album. There are so many great pop songs on here, so many great guitar pop singles. I mean, they would have been hits in the 60s, and they're just fantastic songs. There's so many great tunes on here. I highly recommend this one. Maybe if you've never heard of the Lilies, never heard Lilies, this might be a good one to start with. But then the next album after this one is the one that really sort of blew me away. It's called The Three-Way, and I'm showing my CDs. I don't know if I tell everybody this. I get these plastic things for the CDs, and then I toss the jewel cases. So then you can store about 1 million CDs in the same space that you had your other ones. But anyway, back to this one. Lilies, The Three-Way. This is a classic sounding album. You might even, if you had not heard of this band, you might even listen to this thing for the first time and think that it was recorded in the 60s. It just has that vibe, and that is so hard to get. And it's not there isn't, I mean, contrary to popular belief, there isn't a guitar pedal or a setting on your computer that says 60s and it makes everything sound like the 60s. It takes a little bit of finesse, a lot of finesse, and a lot of genuine caring about how those sounds are made, where those sounds come from. And the songwriting on here is just incredible. These are the songs that this is the best example, I think, of Kurt's amazing ability to do what I think is just a stream of consciousness type of songwriting, where you feel like what you're listening to is being created on the spot. I don't know how better to explain it, but he makes something very difficult seem very easy with the songwriting. And I think when you listen to this, it just carries you through these different changes. Like every song on here has got enough stuff in it to create 4 or 5 different songs. The song will start and then it will change into a different song and then it'll go into a different song and then it'll come back to that second song. And it's that kind of music, which is interesting because one thing that's interesting about it is the first time you listen to it, you might not be able to follow it. It might take you a minute to figure out where the songs are going and what's happening in the songs. And then the next few times you listen to it, it starts to kind of imprint itself. And then once you get familiar with this album, the songs are just incredible. You just love every song on here. I think is a classic. The Three-Way is sort of, I think, the sort of new neo psychedelic Sgt. Pepper of its time. It's, I believe, right at the turn of the century, and it's 1999, and just a great record. I highly recommend this one. Then he did some more experimenting. He did some stuff where he was experimenting with things that sounded a bit like the word I hate, krautrock, where he was kind of experimenting with a kind of electronic, repetitious, that motoric beat, that thing of that rolling beat and electronics a little bit more than guitars. Zero population growth. I like it. I really like it. It takes a minute to get into this one too. But once you do, once you figure it out, once you figure out what he's doing, what he's going for, it becomes quite incredible. And then there's the later era of things that came after the Three-Way and Zero Population Growth, which I absolutely love. I love all of Lily's albums, all of Kurt's work with the Lilies, but this one came next. It's called Pre-Collection. And there's Kurt right there on the cover, and this is a fantastic album. It just I don't know why it didn't turn into a gigantic thing. There's some bands that just deserve to be a gigantic thing, and Kurt's one of those people. This is a great album. It's full of pop songs that have that sort of pop edge to them, the poppiness, but they also have an edge to them, a distorted, slightly off centerness to them that keeps them from being just poppy pop. There's a darkness here. There's that psychedelic, the psychedelic aspect of these things. I can't stress enough. It really does kind of pull on you. It takes you in. It pulls you in to the music, into the stories that he's telling, and into the feeling of the music and the sounds that you're hearing. It's not the typical, it's guitar, drums, bass, voice, but not recorded typically. You have to listen to it to know what the hell I'm talking about here. I totally recommend every album. If you want to start though, I would go start with the Three-Way, or Better Can't Make Your Life Better, or Pre-Collection. This one is a fantastic album. And the one that came after this one is called Everything is Imaginary. Everything Wrong is Imaginary. And you have to stop and think about that title for a minute, because knowing Kurt, I know that there is a huge and very deep meaning to it, as with all of his songs, which can be analyzed and parsed to infinity. This is an incredible album. Fantastic album of quirky pop songs in the style the style of these other ones that I'm talking about, the most recent ones. This is 2006. Unfortunately, Kurt hasn't done a new album in quite a while, but I have a feeling he's working on it. The times that I've talked to him recently, he is still driven and still doing music, still playing out there live, and working on things constantly. Recently, my friend Elisa Fancher and her Frontier Records started re-releasing some things. I don't know what they've got in store, but I have to show off now some of the stuff just because I'm pals with Kurt. I have really cool collectibles here. These are test pressings for In the Presence of Nothing. This is my vinyl of the, it's like a test print. But these are pretty fantastic. And also the Exame, the Photon Band re-release. There was a very special limited, super limited edition, and I snagged one because Kurt gave it to me. It's got original art on the inside by a pretty fantastic street artist in New York who I really like. This album has a song on it called Day of the Monkey, which is another song I did a music video for Kurt, and check that one out. I like that music video. It's a normal length. It's not 12 minutes long. It's a great song. I felt like very honored to be able to make a music video for it, and I used a lot of footage. There's some videos that you see that are kind of they try to go for minimalism, and I wanted to sort of go the other way and do something that was maximumism. And so I tried to overwhelm the senses. It's something that you'd have to watch multiple times to see everything in it. And one element in there, I wanted it to sort of be almost hidden in there, is if you look very carefully, you can see Kurt in there singing the song. And it's funny that we recorded that. We taped that over here. We were just talking about the video. And I said, you know what, let's just tape something in my front yard. We went out in the front yard right around sunset, so you can kind of see the sun setting. And I played the song, I think on my phone or something. And he just sort of, he sang along with it, and I just used a camera and I just was filming, and that became one of the layers in this multiple layered video. But anyway, check that video out, and just check out the entire output of Kurt and his band Lilies. I can't recommend them highly enough. They are absolutely one of my favorites. And they deserve some study. You know, I think if you get into them, it's not just the kind of throwaway pop songs that you may, you know, listen to and kind of move on. You know, it's the kind of stuff that'll stay with you forever. I think you don't get tired of it. It's not the kind of thing that is disposable. Yeah, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. The kind of pop where you listen to it and it's like, oh, that's cool, and you like it, but you don't love it. You don't go back to it all the time. I go back to Lilies all the time. They're constant rotation here at headquarters, and I highly recommend Lilies, the Kurt Heasley experience, and I hope you guys already know about them. That would be so great if you already know about them and you're like, yeah, I know all that stuff. I already love the Lilies. But if you don't, and you haven't heard of them, or you haven't listened to them, maybe heard of them, haven't listened to them, I'm telling you, you oughta. It's good stuff. And I think that's about all I'm gonna say. That's a bunch of information right there. But hopefully this was enjoyable and I didn't ramble on too hypnotically and psychedelically about this band. But I just love this band, and everything that Kurt does is great. He's a fantastically creative soul, and fun to explore his musical worlds. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you again real soon.